welcome to New Release Tuesday. This is a great show on This Week in YA channel. I tell you all about all the awesome books that you should be buying this week, and this week is another big week. Back up the dump truck, we're bringing it in. The first book is Monstrous Beauty by Elizabeth Fama, and this is about a mermaid named Hester who falls in love with this boy named Ezra, and in order to actually stay with him, she has to figure out why the women in her family are dying and why every time they fall in love they end up dying, and she's wondering if it's something genetic or otherwise. Beneath the Glitter by Elle and Blair Fowler, and this is their debut novel, and it's supposed to be akin to LA Candy. It's about these two sisters who moved to LA to start their own fashion line to find themselves knee-deep in scandal. My Book of Life by Angel by Martine Leavitt, and this is about a girl who basically becomes a prostitute. She's living in Vancouver and she meets this boy at the mall, and he's like, here, have this candy, and so she gets hooked on the candy and then decides that she's not really decides, it's just like within a turn of events some snowballing happens and her life just ends up on the corner. And, sooner or later she finds out that this is not the life that she wants to leave, and it's just gonna get worse and worse and worse. If not, she's gonna just disappear one day and nobody's gonna care because of her lifestyle. And so she and this other girl decide that they're going to leave, and so the book is kind of like them figuring out how to do so. The Broken Lands by Kate Milford, and this is set in New York. It's like Coney Island / New York City, and it's when everything's being built up, like the Brooklyn Bridge and things like that. And it's the prequel to Bone Shaker. Immortal Lycanthropes by Hal Johnson, and this is about a kid who is beat up at school and is left naked in the middle of the cafeteria to find out in some way or another that he is a lycanthrope, he is a werewolf, and his life gets very interesting from there. Surviving High School by M. Dottie, and this is about a girl who is a competitive swimmer, and she has a mean girl in her class that she's competing with in swimming, and she also has this really cute boy that she is trying to woo. And so basically, if you're beginning high school, this is gonna be a book for you. If you just want something fun, just kind of, light, this might be your book. Fathomless by Jackson Pierce. I love this book. I love the series so much. It's so intricately woven together because they're companion novels, and this is the third book in the companion novel, and it's a retelling of The Little Mermaid. Blink Twice by Silene Busby, and this is about a boy who is involved in an accident and is left paralyzed in the hospital, and the girl who is kind of living next door to him in the next room is the only person who can understand his thoughts and things. I don't know if she is a mind reader or what, but he's kind of freaked out because he's like, why is she showing up in my nightmares? What is going on here? Freaks Like Us by Suzanne Vaught, and I like this cover a lot. It's about a boy who has schizophrenia, and his one of his really close friends disappears, and he has to find out what happened to her, and he doesn't remember anything because of his schizophrenia. I don't know too much about schizophrenia, but because of it, he doesn't remember what happened before she disappeared. Death is a Killer Tune by Marlene Perez, and this is about a girl named Jessica who is a girl warrior, and she has to keep everything bad, dangerous things out of her town, and when it comes down to her boyfriend and this other band who comes to town for Battle of the Bands, she kind of has to chase the other band out of town because their music makes people do dangerous and risky things, possibly life-threatening. Origin by Jessica Curry, and this is a wonderful novel. It's a sci-fi, and it's about this girl named Pia who is living in the Amazon forest, and she is immortal, and so that's a lot of fun. And on her 16th birthday, she sneaks out and sees that there's more to life than just that little village, her little cam as they call it. Edge of Nowhere by Elizabeth George, and this is her first YA novel, and it is said to be a mix of paranormal, romance, and mystery. The Carnival of Souls by Melissa Marr, and this is probably a book that interests a lot of you because she seems to get a lot of buzz in this community, but apparently there's a lot of magic going on, a lot of discreet things going on. I really like I'm really bad at explaining sometimes, but the The trailer is really great. I'm gonna put an annotation around the book, and so if you click the book, you'll go to the trailer, and it's great. There's also kind of a fighting something or another. What is it called? There's a movie. There's a movie one time with some buff guys, and basically they fight to the death. And I think this is kind of similar to that. I don't know anything about this book. I am really bad. Sweet Shadows by Tara Lynn Childs, and this is about the descendants of Medusa. The Book of Night by Pearl North is the third book in the Labyrinth series. There's librarians in this whole thing, but this is about a girl who is a healer. Basically, she has to find this book to be able to heal the lands because this queen person has come through and is like death and destruction or something like that. Just really bad stuff, and this girl's like, I'm the only person who can go find this. Otherwise, if it gets put in the wrong hands, then it kind of does bad things, I guess, as books do. Outpost by Anna Guire is the second book in the Razorland series, and it's about a girl named Deuce who has been living underground for a while, but she comes to the Toplands and she kind of has to be reacclimated, everything in order to change who she is, and to kind of like teach her how to live there, and she gets to patrol the fields and to make sure that the farmers are doing what they need to do. And I guess there's some trials and tribulations with that, and with the boy that she is supposed to be working with that she kind of has feelings for. I Swear by Lane Davis, and I'm not sure if I fully understand the synopsis of this book, but from what I understand, it's kind of like when bullying is gone so far that it's taken to court, and so it's, you know, teenagers dealing with that. I guess it's in a fictional arena. I'm not sure if this is based on any true things. I would assume so, because I think books like that would take some sort of research and things like that, and maybe some personal interviews, things like that. So it seems like an interesting book, a very, you know, maybe a more intense read, but I think it's very important, that kind of issue. So yeah. 34 Pieces of You by Carmen Rodriguez, and this is about a girl, and it is basically similar to 13 Reasons Why. After the girl dies, her friends find 34 pieces of paper under her bed, kind of describing why she did what she did, and possibly, I guess since it's along the same lines of 13 Reasons Why, it'd probably explain like who did what, or whatever, if somebody kind of pushed her. Envy by Elizabeth Miles, and this is the second book in the Fury series, and in this book, the Furies are back for revenge. Rage Within is the sequel to Dark Inside by Jane Roberts, and this is kind of like, keep on going with that apocalyptic feel of things, and the cover very much reminds me of Quarantine by Lex Thomas, so maybe if you're into, if you liked Quarantine, you'll like this book, and so thinking so, maybe, possibly. I'm liking this trend of apocalyptic literature. Yes. We're letting a middle grades book slip in with The Last Dogs, The Vanishing by Christopher Holt, and this is about a yellow Labrador retriever by the name of Max, and his family disappears, and so he kind of has to go find a family. Probably a dog family. And there's an evil corporation looking to make perfect animals. And so I'm thinking, dogstopian, is that gonna be a new middle grade trend? Who knows? Redemption by Veronique Lanier, and this is from the Heart of Stone series. This looks like a very fierce read, and it is about this guy who is a gargoyle, and he's been a gargoyle guarding things for a while, and this girl comes along and turns him into a human boy who is 17 years old. So new life, new situation, gotta figure it all out. Silver by Talia Vance, and this kind of mixes some Celtic mythology in YA, which is always awesome. You know, we've had the Greek god mythology, and so maybe it's time for some Celtic, a little bit Norse, maybe somewhere in there. I think it'd be fun, and so I'm very much looking forward to reading Silver by Talia Vance. Henry Frank's A Novel by Peter Adams Solomon, and this is basically psychological thriller with self-discovery. So basically, YA psychological thriller. Crimson Rising by Nick James, and this is a book from the Skyship Academy series, and I am all about the YA sci-fi. I know that Origin is sci-fi, and this is another sci-fi this week, and so excited, yes. So excited. Spaceships. Spaceships. The City's Sun by Tom Pollock, and this is set in London, and I'm thinking, I'm not sure if it's dystopian or not, but it's basically this girl, she doesn't really run away from home. Her parents are just kind of like, we're done with you, goodbye. And so she somehow meets the prince, and she's like, hey, your kingdom's kind of falling apart. You need to raise an army. And so he kind of gets these people from the street and gets them involved in his army in order to take back his throne for his mother that he's never met. But whoever is trying to run the kingdom now is not very good. And so they're both like, hey, let's just kind of help each other out and just, you know, do all that kind of stuff. The saving the world, you know, all that stuff. So that's all for this week. As usual, there are Goodreads links down there for your convenience. And so I hope you all have a great week and keep reading.